Al Jazeera Podcasts.
Today, a mysterious flight from Gaza to South Africa.
These are people from Gaza who somehow mysteriously were put on a plane that passed by Nairobi and came here.
Charter flights organized by a shadowy group are being described as voluntary immigration. Is it a lifeline or a new method of ethnic cleansing? I'm Malika Bilal, and this is The Take. Hey everyone, while you're watching this interview, remember to leave us a comment telling us what you think about this episode and all of its twists and turns. And if you're listening, leave us a review telling us where you're listening from and rate us, which helps other people find the show you already know and love.
My name is Abeer Ayyoub. I'm Palestinian from Gaza, and I am an independent journalist.
Well, Abeer, welcome to The Take. These stories of charter flights in recent months flying Palestinians out of Gaza to different countries have been circulating online. They are shocking. They've been all over social media. The most recent flight was last Thursday, where more than 150 Palestinians were flown to Johannesburg, South Africa. We spoke to one of those passengers, a young 19-year-old Palestinian woman named Shah Abu Samra. She'd been living in Gaza alone after her family had already been evacuated. She told us that she paid $2,000 to make that difficult journey.
It was hard. We had to travel using bus from Karim Abu Salim to Bramon. It was 4 hours in the bus. And then we took a plane to Kenya for almost 5 hours. Then from Kenya to South Africa, also a plane for 6 hours. And then we stuck in South Africa in the plane for 12 hours.
So, Abeer, I know that you spoke to Shahid as well in the course of your reporting. Walk me through how you learned about these Palestinians from Gaza and how they ended up in South Africa.
So this was the third trip made by Al-Majd Europe organization, an organization that started organizing trips for Palestinians from Gaza. The organization has been taking applications, and I have been following the applicants, like how they applied and what happened with them and how they were informed about the travel. People applied through the link at Al-Majd Europe website, and then they got the Israeli permits to cross to Kerem Shalom and then Ramon Airport, and then the flights happened. But as we saw in many media outlets, especially the third flight, travelers were not aware where they were going.
In the course of your talking to people for this story, hearing about people clicking on a link that could lead to them being able to leave Gaza, was there anything about this story that shocked you?
The first time I knew about a family that traveled to Indonesia in May, I knew 2 days after they left. I already knew there was a story. It takes 2 seconds to realize Indonesia, it's a family. They are not injured. They are not students. There is a story here. And I started digging. When I started talking to relatives, they refused to give me more information because the travelers didn't give them more information. They said, we just left through an organization. We cannot tell more. It's very secretive. So it took lots of work at the beginning to find the link. When I found the link, I knew the whole story. Like only one click on the link, you realize it's not an organization that's like, it claims that it's a German organization founded in 2010, but then you do the research, the pictures on the website, and I took the pictures to Google, and I found that the pictures were published somewhere else before.
Wow.
They also claimed they do humanitarian work in Khan Younis. That was all pictures taken from other organizations.
You found that out from a simple Google search, reverse image search, basically.
Of course. It was, and also AI pictures for the employees. It's very easy to figure out. Also, there is no phone number. Okay, what's next? Who these people are? I never knew who these people are. I couldn't put my finger on that. But the website at the beginning had a logo as a partner, a logo of a company that's called Talent Globus. When I clicked on its website, it was owned by a guy who's Israeli-Estonian. And then after I followed him on LinkedIn, he posted that he evacuated Palestinians from Gaza. He posted after the first plane took place.
Oh my goodness.
So I made that connection.
Okay, so let me make sure that I can keep up with this story. There are so many twists and turns. So there's this organization known as Al-Majd Europe. That's the name that keeps coming up behind these flights. And on its website, it presents itself as a humanitarian group that helps evacuate people from conflict zones based on your digging and your reporting and the reporting of other news organizations and journalists out there, because others have uncovered some of these details as well. You found out that those details don't match what the organization says it is, when it was founded, the pictures aren't real, and the man behind what you could find is named Tomer Janar Lind, right? So what do we know about Tomer?
Tomer is an Israeli-Estonian citizen who was born in 1989. The Estonian registry says that he established Talent Globus. He said that he established this recruitment company to help Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank to find jobs in Europe and in the Gulf, according to his LinkedIn profile. So he has been interested in Palestinians in particular. But this guy did not give any statements to any media outlet. He just refused to comment. But his LinkedIn says that he is involved in evacuating Palestinians from Gaza.
So I understand that on LinkedIn, he goes by Tom Lind, same person. And though he hasn't given a statement, on Tuesday, Al-Majd, this organization, did release a statement to clarify its activities, right? It said its work is for, quote, the purpose of helping their brothers and sisters living under oppressive authority, end quote, and helping them, quote, begin a life of freedom and dignity in a new place. Now, just like you did, Al Jazeera reached out to Al-Majd Europe. We received a bounce back email saying it does not exist. The website states its headquarters is located in occupied East Jerusalem, but Al Jazeera was not able to find an office there. So when you saw that statement, what did you think?
The statement was a bit weird to me because it says that the organization was formed by Palestinians from Gaza who were oppressed by the government in Gaza. But the website doesn't say this. It says that it was established in 2010 to help people in Syria, Lebanon, Turkey, and Palestine. And also, it says that it was established to help Palestinians from Gaza to start a new life. And here we need to say something. It's true that Palestinians in Gaza are calling for opening the border because they want to start a new life outside. Just as we saw Shahid, who wanted to leave to resume her studies. And this is correct. The issue is not about Palestinians who want to leave the Gaza Strip to resume their lives, to be reunited with their families in Europe. It's not about that. So when people are talking about this kind of evacuation, they are not necessarily against people leaving. It's just about the way, like they are discussing the possible ways.
Well, you brought up Shahid again, and so I want to return to part of her story because she told us that when she registered on the Al-Majd website, she didn't know where she would be traveling to. South Africa or Malaysia were possible options, but she wasn't told. She was told to only bring the essentials.
They told us to have only our passports, a small bag with your phone, your money. We shouldn't have any clothes or a lot of, stuff with us.
So no luggage, just bare essentials, no certainty about the final destination. And when she arrived in South Africa, along with so many others, she said that they were all held on board the tarmac for 12 hours. And that's because even officials in South Africa were not notified of this flight and said that they were blindsided.
They came and started asking us some questions like, how did you leave? What was your journey? From where to where? They were asking because there was another group who already arrived 10 days before us. So they just was like, why there are so many Palestinians coming there?
I wonder, there's been so much mystery around these flights, but it is not easy for Palestinians in Gaza to be able to leave Gaza. They need permission from Israel. So what does that tell you about how these Palestinians were able to leave?
It tells a lot. It tells that these people were very desperate to leave. Everyone has the right to leave if they want. But the thing is that as the Rafah border was closed since May 2024, it became like people are exploring the possible chances, the possible ways to leave. Mm-hmm. And then they got this lifeline. Mm-hmm. When you talk about people who applied, they will tell you, we don't know everything about the organization, but we want to live. Mm-hmm. We want to have life outside. Shahid was the only one in Gaza. Her family is in Cairo. She graduated from high school. She wants to resume her studies. So this was the way possible. And then why they were not told about their destination, because some of the travelers at the first trip made it to Indonesia. Indonesia knew about it and was planning to ban the next trips, according to officials from the Palestinian embassy in Indonesia. And then the second flight was sent to South Africa. After people landed in South Africa, some of them shared reels on their Instagram because they were happy. They were out of Gaza. They were eating fries and burgers, going shopping, going to malls, and posting like the location, Johannesburg.
We'll have more with Abeer after the break. I think what makes this so troubling for so many people is the reported link between these flights and what's called the Voluntary Immigration Bureau. And that's this department that operates inside the Israeli Defense Ministry. An Israeli government spokesperson was asked about these flights on Monday.
I don't have much I can share with you on that, but the Prime Minister has made it clear that if Palestinians want to leave, they should be allowed to leave the Gaza Strip. And if they want to come back to the Gaza Strip, they should also be allowed to come back.
In the statement that Al-Majd released, it did not say whether or not it was affiliated with the Israeli government, but it did say that, quote, our only interaction with the Israeli authorities is for the purpose of coordinating exits from Gaza. So, Abeer, from your reporting, what do you know about that bureau and its role in these flights?
We have been hearing about these bureaus, but we never saw like they were doing real work in the ground. So when you see like lots of statements and lots of reporting in Israeli media about this bureau, and then we saw Al-Majd, you kind of make the connection, but you really wanted the real evidence about the connection. It was not clear, to be honest. At the beginning, it was not clear. But then a page at the archive of the website, there was an agreement to be signed by travelers. It says an agreement to voluntary migration from Gaza. But this page was removed from the website and it remained in the archive. But then Haaretz expose said that there was a connection between Al-Majd and this bureau, that they were referred to Kogat, the body that's responsible for issuing Palestinians from Gaza the exit permits. They were referred to Kogat by this bureau. Like, this is a connection that's made by anonymous sources to several media outlets. And then we have the page at the archive that was removed, and actually people did not get any proof they left Gaza. Like, they did not get any proof they are out of the country. So I'm not sure how their way back to the country can work, because every time we left Gaza, we either had the stamp of Rafah border on the passport or a blue slip saying Israeli permit to leave Gaza. Like, we had the actual slips. But these travelers did not have any of this. They did not sign any of the agreements, but they did not have this.
Well, Abeer, earlier we touched on South Africa being almost caught unaware when this second plane arrived. The South African foreign minister has said that the arrival of this latest plane points to a clear agenda to cleanse Palestinians out of Gaza and the West Bank, and that they don't want any more flights like this. Here is South African President Cyril Ramaphosa.
Out of empathy, we must receive them and be able to deal with the situation that they are facing. And it does seem like they were being, flushed out. We will get the details later, but from a humanitarian point of view, we could not return them from whence they have come.
So they allowed them entry, but what dilemma does this put South Africa in?
It was a clear dilemma. At the beginning, when we saw at the news, and we also saw videos from the plane filmed by Palestinians from Gaza who were on the plane, showing many children on the plane being stuck. It was extremely hot. The plane had a woman who was pregnant in her final month. So it was a very hard situation. And then you saw on social media lots of people tweeting, saying that this is South Africa, the country that supports Palestinians, are not allowing these children and women inside. But at the same time, South Africa, from their statement, that they wanted to make clear that we don't want to be a part of emptying Gaza or receiving Gazans according to these unknown organizations. So it was a hard situation. If it lets them in, it might be understood they are a part of a project they don't want to be involved with. And if they don't allow them, the plane had children and women who are escaping from a conflict zone.
Well, and part of the problem being what you mentioned earlier, they didn't have those stamps. They didn't have any documentation saying that they had been legally let out of Israel. What does that say to you about why that made it even more complicated?
I believe that was a part of the problem, because Shahid said something interesting, that a policewoman told her, you are like people who came as guests to a home without knocking the door. So we don't know where you are coming from. You don't have any exit stamps. You don't have any permits. You don't have any proof that you left your country. So that was a part of the problem, but it was not the whole thing. It was also who brought you here, who put you in that plane.
Well, Shah had told us that interaction that you just described was part of what led her to take another flight and reunite with her family in Egypt. But Abeer, Israel is describing these trips as voluntary immigration, but these are people living under, as you've said, bombardment and famine with almost no way out. And they are paying thousands of dollars to be removed from their own land. We asked Shahid if this felt voluntary, and this is what she told us.
It wasn't an immigration at all. Every person on the plane had their story, their reasons to leave. Some are patients, want to heal. Others are students, just like me, wants to continue their education. And being stuck in Gaza with no humanitarian needs, how could you just continue your life with you when you don't have any sources to live?
And I wonder for you are also from Gaza, and you've spoken to many of these people and others in the course of your reporting over the years. How are you and other Palestinians from Gaza seeing this?
I'm Palestinian from Gaza. I left Gaza more than 10 years ago. I left Gaza because I could not be in a place that's its borders are often closed. So when I lived in Amman, for instance, there was an event in Tunisia that I wanted to attend, and I got the visa 1 day before the event. I just put my bag, took it to the airport, and took the flight. And I was thinking, oh my God, is it this easy? So I relate to these people who want to have a normal life, and then they are labeled as people who are doing voluntary immigration. It's not like that. My family didn't leave their neighborhood since the war began. Even during the starvation in the north, they didn't evacuate. So we have people who want to leave, and we have people who want to stay. We have people who think that they want to leave temporarily until the reconstruction happens. Mm-hmm. We have people who say that we want to reconstruct this place. So it doesn't mean that Gaza would be an empty place one day, but it means that just like any human beings or civilians in any war zone, we will have people who escape and want to rescue themselves and their families. And we have people who would stay.
Yeah, I think everyone can understand that. Abeer, thank you so much for your reporting on this and for sharing your reflections on it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.